I spent 14 nights in my father's old house in Tuen Mun after he passed. But it was on the third night that things changed. I was alone in that 3-story village house in Ting Ling Chuen, surrounded by decades of his dust and old furniture. And every night when I sat down to eat, someone or something started laying out a second set of bowls and chopsticks on the table for me. The house was always quiet, smelling of damp wood and the kind of stillness you only find in places that have been empty for too long. I'm the only child, and my mother died years ago, so clearing out 30 years of his life was my job alone. The first 2 nights were normal. I'd cook simple meals in his old pots and sit at the round wooden table in the dining room, facing the TV with my back to the kitchen. My father's empty chair was always right across from me. On the third night, I walked out with my bowl of rice and stopped dead. There were 2 sets of bowls and chopsticks on the table, neatly laid out. I stared at them for a few seconds, convinced I'd just done it out of habit and forgotten, so I just sat down and ate in the dark. But the 4th night, I made a point to only bring out 1 set. I put it down, went back to the kitchen to scoop my rice, and when I returned, there were 2 again. I didn't move. I just picked up the extra set and put it back in the cupboard. But when I walked back past the table an hour later, the chair across from mine had been pulled out at a slight angle, just enough for someone to sit down. By the 7th night, the atmosphere in the house felt like it was thickening. I found an old tin box of photos and saw a picture of that same table from years ago, where my father sat facing the kitchen and my mother sat across from him. I stayed in that storage room for a long time looking at her face before going down to make dinner. While I was still at the stove, I looked through the small kitchen window and saw the table was already set with 2 bowls, and I hadn't even touched the cupboard yet. The angle of the second pair of chopsticks was perfect, aligned exactly for a right-handed person sitting opposite me. By the 9th night, the smell arrived. It wasn't cooking, it was him. A mix of old skin and that faint scent of posum on medicinal oil he used every day. It was concentrated right around his chair. I leaned down and touched the seat cushion, and it was warm. Not the warmth of the sun, but the lingering heat of a body that had just stood up. On the 10th night, I scooped a little extra rice. I don't know why. And as I sat down, the chair across from me suddenly screeched against the floor. It slid back slowly, and I watched the foam of the seat cushion sink down in the center, as if someone had just sat their weight into it. The smell of him became overwhelming. I whispered, "Dad?" The room stayed silent, but then the chopsticks on the opposite side moved, sliding apart slightly, as if getting ready to hold a bowl. And then a voice came, muffled and deep like it was traveling through a thick wall. It was his voice, and it said 1 word: "Eat." I didn't scream, I just started crying, and pushed the extra bowl toward the empty chair, and we finished that meal together. But the real horror didn't happen in the dining room. On the 12th night, I was sorting through his bedroom upstairs until my eyes were burning. I stepped out of the bathroom and pushed his bedroom door open and froze because he was standing there by the wardrobe. His back was to me, wearing that thin white undershirt he wore every night. But the smell in the room was sharp and earthy like cold mud. He began to turn his head toward me, and the movement was wrong. A series of wet, snapping sounds as his neck jerked inch by inch. When his face finally came into the light, his skin looked like translucent wax stretched too tight over bone, and his eyes were wide open with no light in them, just 2 empty holes staring into nothing. His jaw dropped open, and the voice that came out was jagged, like dry vocal cords being forced to vibrate. He was struggling against his own body just to warn me. "Don't," he rasped. "Come, in." I slammed the door and stayed in the living room with every light on until the sun came up. The next morning the room was empty, but there were 2 damp footprints on the floorboards where he had stood, cold to the touch. I understood then that he didn't want me to see what he had become. He wanted me to remember the man at the dinner table. I finished clearing the house and sold it, but on the very last day, after the furniture was gone, I looked at the empty dining room floor. and could still see the faint scuff marks on the wood where his chair had sat for 30 years. I touched the floor one last time and told him I was leaving. I don't know if he's still there with the new family, but sometimes when I'm eating alone at my new place, I find myself glancing at the empty seat across from me. I think about the sound of that chair sliding out and that one word he said. Have you ever felt someone who's gone still lingering in the room with you? Maybe a scent or a sudden change in the air? If you're sitting alone right now, take a look at the chair across from you and tell me, are you sure it's as empty as it looks?
The story has ended, but they have noticed you now. You are already deep within the hollows to ensure you find your way back, or perhaps to ensure you never leave. You must mark your presence. Like the shadow you saw, share the whispers you heard, and if you are truly brave, subscribe to Midnight Hollows, because some things only exist in the dark. See you next midnight.